Hi everyone, Mr. Neighbor here, and we're continuing to talk about simple interest. We're going to do a few more problems, and some of them will involve solving for rates, and that's the part I really want to talk about in this video. So let's just kind of recap and go through what we've been talking about. We're talking about how we calculate simple interest, which is calculated by the principal, the amount that you're putting in, times the rate, which is your interest rate, times the time. And these two, they have to match. If this is an interest rate in years, the time has to be in years. If this is an interest rate in months, this has to be a time in months. If it doesn't say anything about a time for rate, you assume it's a yearly rate. So you assume it's for the year. So for example, down here, I see 5.5%. So I assume that's an annual amount per year. So the interest would be calculated by the principal multiplied by the percent as a number. Remember, don't forget this 0 right here. That 0 is necessary. This is 55 thousandths or 5.5 hundredths, and percents are always out of 100. Then we multiply by the time. This is 8 months. So if this is an annual thing, 8 months is 8/12 of a year. It's not a full year. It's a number less than 1. It's not a full year. So I have all of it set up, and now I just use a calculator to calculate this out. And I would get out $51.33. So this is the amount of simple interest. That's not the total amount of money they're going to have in their savings account, not the total amount of money they're going to owe if it's a loan. This is just the interest they're going to have to pay, or the interest that they get. Try another one together. We use the principal. We multiply it by the interest rate, and then we multiply it by the time. In this case, it's a yearly rate, but a monthly time. So I have to change that 1 month to be a year, and that's 1/12 of a year. So when I calculate that out, I get $3.51 for my interest. All right, so now we're going to be talking about the rate. Here we have some information given, and we need to find what the rate is, what R is. So let's read the problem together. Lewis is taking out a car loan for $5,000. He plans on paying off the car loan in 2 years. At the end of 2 years, Lewis will have paid $300 in interest. What is the simple interest rate on the car loan? So let's look at our equation first. I start by writing it out completely blank. I just have the symbols there. So I need to fill in what I do know. So look at the numbers and kind of identify what they are. The 5,000, that's the loan. That would be the principal. He's paying off the loan in 2 years. That would be our time. And it says after 2 years, Lewis will have paid $300 in interest. This would be the I, the interest. So filling in everything I have, I is 300, P is 5,000, R I do not know because it's not anywhere in the problem from my labeling, and T is 2. Because it doesn't say I have to find an interest rate in months or an interest rate in years. I can pick and choose. Since I was given 2 years, my interest rate will be in years. So at this point, I just have to solve for R. And I do that by doing all the stuff that I can right away. So there's nothing on the left side of the equal sign that I can do. Because remember, there is a difference. There's like a line crossing them. You can't just randomly transfer things over. You have to have a purpose. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But you can move numbers around if they're being multiplied. So I can multiply this 2 and 5,000 together to get 10,000 times R. And I have to think about what number times 10,000 will give me 300. An easy way to think about that is to go ahead and undo what's happening. We are multiplying by 10,000. So let's undo what that is doing to the right side and also undo what that would be doing to the left side. So this is like changing the balance beam. So we have to take whatever 300 is, divide by 10,000, and we will have 10,000 times R divided by 10,000. The nice thing about the right side, 10,000 divided by 10,000 is just 1. So it's just 1 R, and I'm just going to write it as R. For this one, some zeros will cancel. This is really like 3 over 100, which is 3 hundredths. Notice that little decimal point right there. So that means our interest rate is 3%, because I wrote it as a percent now. So that's the interest rate that they have on the car loan. We're going to do a similar problem now, but instead of car loans, we're going to do student loans, the loans that you have to pay if you borrow any money when you go to college. So Maggie's taking out a student loan for $2,600. She plans on paying off the loan in 3 years. At the end of 3 years, Maggie will have paid $390 in interest. What is the simple interest rate on the student loan? So let's identify all the stuff that we know. So my equation, just writing it out completely blank, I need to find all these different letters. So the loan, that is the principal, so that's $2,600. The time, looks like it's 3 years. And then the interest is $330. No rate, because we're asked the rate to find it. So 390 is the I. 2,600 is the P. We did not find an R, and then we know it's 3 years. So this is going to be an interest rate in years. So what we need to do is multiply what we have on the same side together, because that's what happens when you don't see anything in between the two numbers. It's multiplication. So we will get out 7,800 multiplied by R still. On the left side, there's nothing I can do to simplify, so I just have to rewrite the number. Remember, you can't cross sides unless you undo things. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to figure out what number times 7,800 gives you 390. Not something I can do in my head very easily. So I use algebra and the process of undoing. So there is multiplication going on right here. So I undo that multiplication in order to rip that 7,800 away. So it's only R. I undo it by division. So then I will have on the left side 390 divided by 7,800. And on the right side, I will have 7,800 times R divided by 7,800. A little lisp there. Nice thing about this side, those two will cancel out. They will be the number 1. Reduce is a better word than cancel out there, I suppose. So the number 1, I don't need to write that. It's kind of invisible. There's only 1 R here. And 390 divided by 7,800 will give me the number 0.05. So the interest rate is a 5% annual interest rate. I'm taking that number that I was given out and I'm converting it to be a percent. So that is the interest rate.